Coach, women were again granted the opportunity to apply for membership in the band during the late 70s. What finally happened that changed the gender makeup of the Mustang band?
Well, for a while it wasn't taken up so strong. Few applied. First woman that applied for the band was a dandy. Name was Rebecca. And I said, Rebecca, you're going in with a bunch of men now. Realize it's a little bit different when you're all men, just one woman in the band. She said, sir, I've ridden the rodeo circuit for 2 years. I know how men react. Said, fine, you've got that. Well, after that, the different parts of women came in, and it was just not the same cohesiveness that you find with men. They tried, but they're feminine, and you like to treat them as feminine people like that. But the band at that time was more masculine, really, basically, than a feminine nature. And you know that by when you got on the field and worked that hard to blow and heavy. And women didn't have the blowing capacity that men had, believe it or not. And that made some difference too. And then the fact that it was pressed on them, you know, by the government, that they had to come in, the discrimination. There's some animosities went on about it, and it just took time to overcome. And it's there. As long as you have to live with them. Now I understand they're fitting in pretty good. As long as they do that, that's good, you know. Fit in with the men, make it like the Mustang band, and not like a wicky-wacky deal in between. Then I think they're going to get the job done.
I agree with Dry that we were really lucky to have some really, really good gals in the band.
We really
were. They worked real hard.
Yep.
They became a
Cohesive,
really
just
cohesive part of the band. And yes, it was different, but they really worked hard to
I agree. I
do
agree
their
with that.
jobs well.
And if they didn't, they didn't stick around too long, you know
Right,
that.
exactly.
Dryan, looking back over those 25 years that you were at SMU, how did the band change or evolve over time?
I don't think the band changed too much. I think the economic situation of the university and the tuition rises caused more problem than anything. And even today, you know, the high cost of education is getting to be a tremendous deal. How can you give scholarships when you college education is $30,000 a year, approximately, with room and board? You can't match scholarships unless you've got to tie in with a co-op school or an engineering school or graduate scholarships that are given to you or different things like that. That's about the only way you can do it. Otherwise, it's a tough situation. And I'd hate to have to be in that recruiting situation right now. It's not an easy situation.
What do you think was the most fulfilling part of being the director of the Mustang band?
The feeling that you're accomplishing something that you love to do, number one. Number two, the guys are enjoying and having fun doing it with you. And number three, hoping it will make an impression on them in their life that they'll remember, and remember with good, fondest memories and not a bunch of baloney stuff.
Is there anything that you wish you had done differently?
I wished I'd have made more demands for higher salaries while I was there. I never did ask for a raise in salary as many years I went to university. And I should have, but I didn't. I guess I was happy doing what I did and took it as it came. I should have asked for raises and I didn't get them, but that's all right. That's past. I'm going to make it. I'm going to live all right. But I enjoyed my work. That's the important thing. And that's more important than money.
Coach, how would you like to be remembered?
As somebody that liked what he was doing and did the best job he could for what he was doing at the time, and thought enough of the guys to remember as much as possible, and remember in their life they still need me, I'm available if I ever see them. And I have an occasion to every now and then to come across one that's troubles and so forth, so on, and help them. And I'm always glad to be of service to them. And then most of all, what they can do to help other people. They've been through this rat race now. They're going to have children, and they're going to have to raise their children how they think they ought to be, then that's the key. If the kid enjoys it, that's the key to living. And with the race, don't you think, Bob? You take his children are good examples of it.
I'll tell you what, Coach, I think that, that everybody in this room and out there in this old world right now who experienced the Mustang Band with you are gonna remember you best because you were loyal to your students.
Well, thank you,
Pure
sir.
and simple, loyal to your students. You did everything that you could to take care of us.
Well, thank you. We hope
And
we
that's a
could have.
great lesson to learn in life that a lot of folks really never learn, or they learn much
We're
later.
shy of it in America right now.
Yes, sir. I believe so too.
I hope
But
America
that loyalty,
can change.
you know, that word loyalty means an awful
Oh, I
lot in
guarantee
almost
you.
every
I agree.
way that I think of the band.
I agree. Well,
And you were
it
always
taught you
loyal
the
to us.
basics of it.
That's right.
That's the first thing you said, Driver, when you walked in the band hall.
Well,
You
that's
said-
true too.
I'm going to be your friend. I'll be there for you.
And you were. Backed it up.
And I don't walk like that. I just look like that.
Is there anything, any message that you would like to pass on to today's and tomorrow's Mustang bandsmen?
Go in, make every moment of it count. Understand that you're having a good time and see that you have a good time with the band and do a good job and be proud and loyal in the work that you're doing. You can't beat that. If you got that, you accomplished something, especially with the days going as it is. And we're sitting looking at it. Loyalty, like Bob said, it's very important. That and motivation. That's the key, I think, to hold. If I can motivate people, I can teach them a little bit. And Bob knows that real well. Without motivation, teachers are not much of a teacher. And that's one thing we did manage to do, wasn't it, Mr. Bob?
We all of
And
us did that,
motivate.
and all these guys did that too.
Amen.
Motivators.
Well, Butch never motivated
Absolutely.
anybody but me.
I would take issue
Well-
with that.
You know, I don't think I'd have been teaching 45 years hadn't been for you.
There you go.
Well, I didn't motivate you. Evidently, I pushed you.
Well, yes.
Well, thank you, Butch.
Well, you know, Coach, you've been definitely made a different impression on a lot of people. And this week when Stan and I were doing some research, and of course we talked a lot about you, and my wife was hearing some of the conversations. She said, "Y'all gonna talk about all that stuff?" And I said, "No, we just get on tangents. We start talking about this, then we start talking about this." And we were talking about, like, I told Stan, I said, one time we were at the coast, and I said, "You know how Dreibrodt is?" And we're sitting there right on the shore, you know, of the ocean, and you said, "You know, if we could bottle this air, take it back to docks, we'd make a fortune."
Yeah, that's
Bottomless- bottomless sea air,
That
you know.
cool air down there.
Well, so we were talking about it like this, and then I told Stan, I said, "You know, I've known Dry almost 50 years. I said, you know, it took me almost 30 years to realize that everything he said wasn't true." I said, because the man, and I learned it from him, if you just make up an answer, and I said, my wife does that now, and she does me the same way that you did me, that I do other people. But it was fun.
Well, of course. That's the spirit of learning is fun. That you don't make it up, you dream of things, you know.
Well, yeah, you embellish a little bit, you know. But
You've never lived in your life till you've been deer hunting with Butch. And God bless Butch. One year we went deer hunting and he killed 2 deer the night before and hung them, and it turned to be about 10 degrees that night. And those deer froze solid as it could be. And Butch was leaving and he had to skin those deer and he processed them, take
can't
them
skin
home.
up, can't
And
frozen deer.
You've never
Tear
heard
it off
such
in
language in
patches.
your life. And it was not obscene. It was just mad. Just mad. Like, they out there skinning. Aren't you going to help me? Good luck, Butch. You're doing great.
We're right behind you, Butch.
Yeah, yeah.
How can I pour you a drink, Butch? I did, of course, like that. But I'll never forget, he got those deer, he says, I think I'm quit hunting right now. You'll never forget that one, will you?
No.
No.